I want to give a tribute to my commander here. Special problem on Apollo 9 by the name of Schweikart. Yeah, Schweikart barked a couple times on the mission. And, you know, in gravity, things behave. You know, you let something go from anywhere, and it drops to the ground, right? It's not true in weightlessness. It stays right where it came out. And it was the third day of the mission when we were testing the lunar module. I ended up barking twice. I'm going to blame part of that on Frank Borman, who I'll never forgive. But that's a different story. The point was, on the fourth day, we were going to do the EVA. I was going to go out on the EVA, the extravehicular activity, testing the suit, the portable life support system, the ability to transfer from one spacecraft to the other. I mean, it was a big deal. And if we didn't get that done, it wasn't clear that we were going to get to the moon and back by the end of the decade. And so coming up on that, at the end of the third day, after I had barked twice, we got together, and it wasn't at all clear that I wasn't going to be sick the next day as well. And one thing you don't want to do in a suit, EVA, go out in the vacuum, you can't get your hand up, a bag up, anything. Basically, not quite 100%, but effectively...
What Rusty's trying to say is he would die.
You barf, you die, right?
But enjoy your dessert.
So that next day, on the fourth day, we were going to go right up to the EVA, pretend we did it, pretend we came back in and pick up the checklist again to make sure everything was working. As we got approaching that depressurization and actually going out on the EVA, Jim and I looked at each other, and Jim said, "How do you feel?" And I said, "I'm feeling pretty good." Jim said, we didn't let these guys know. And Jim said, "Let's check it out in another half hour, see how things go." Another half hour, and this was about 15 minutes before I would go outside. Jim and I looked at each other, and he said, "What do you think?" I said, "I think let's go." And Jim said, "Let's do it then." And we did it. It all worked great. But that was a command decision on Jim's part. We didn't get a chance to consult with you guys. We came up with the next ground station, and Jim said, "We're doing the EVA." I've never seen any commander assume that kind of a responsibility. We talk about trust, Jerry. We had that kind of trust that Jim and I could look at each other. It's going to be my life. I said it's a go. Jim knew me well enough. He said, "Let's do it." And I've never thanked you personally, Jim. I'm going to thank you right now.
From the observer's point of view, and I was watching all of this.
Neutral observer.
No, I mean, this is, because I'm over there in the command module, I got a lot of stuff to do too, but it's Jim's call. In any tough situation like that, combat guys know this in particular, the on-site commander makes the decision. And he made the right decision, and it was on Jim. But he could tell Rusty's condition, he could tell the condition of the spacecraft and everything, and he made the right call. And that's what the commander's supposed to do. Thanks, Jim. It was fun for me, too.
There's a really bad fallout from this whole thing. Because when we saw Rusty wasn't feeling well, Dave and I opened up all the food that we had for the whole 10 days, and we put it in different bags, and we let Rusty take what he thought looked good to him.
Fruitcake.
And son of a bitch did. he took the bacon bits.
And the brownies.
I just want to know, what's it like? They want to know how you go in space, all that kind of stuff, and they ask you about all kinds of crazy things. But food, you mentioned Tang earlier.
It's the same color as yours.
Yes. I'm sure the sponsors really appreciate being held until now.
You don't want to go around, look at me. I'll put it on you.
Well, that's something I never wanted to see either. It's a big difference doing that.
And it's only the self-exhibit.
No, but so you talk about the space food and all of that. We got a little bit of the stuff in our gift story as well. But what's that like? I mean, it's not exactly today's standards, but it was pretty cutting edge then. Give us a little glimpse of day to day on board. Food, just, you know.
Actually, it was pretty good. I think that for a camping situation, we were camping out for 10 days. It wasn't bad. The big problem that I had, I think Jim did too, Rusty did too, the food was basically a mush. It was a powder that you rehydrated with water, and then you ate a mush. Not too bad. The problem was there was nothing to chew. And when we got back, I needed to have something to chew. And then there's a line in the
Transit pacifier.
there's a line in the transcript, interestingly enough, if you go look at it, somebody asked Jim, what do you want to eat when you get down? And Jim said, I want a good steak. And then they said, well, how do you want to cook? I'll eat it raw.
The uh-oh moment I remember, I said something about when they separated the lunar module and the command module. That was an uh-oh that we had never done. The only other time I was a little worried was re-entry. It always bothered me a little bit. But the one that got me just in its normal stuff, I think Gene probably would feel the same way. None of us liked EVAs, particularly tethered from the using ship supply. And of course, Dave didn't get all the way out, and so he wasn't out trying to do handrails and all that kind of stuff. But I know it used to scare the devil out of me the whole time. Those guys were crawling around when Buzz was outside on Gemini 12. Those were tight moments. I was glad to get them back in and get the hatch shut.
Well, you know, one of the things that's important is that we didn't meet each other for the first time when we were in orbit. We spent a lot of time together ahead of time, and we used to sit down between the controllers, the engineering guys, and the astronauts, and work on a set of mission rules that we use during flight. And so, you know, it's not like we walk in and say, oh, hey, Charlie, I'm Pete, how are you? What's your name? Yeah, let's go fly. No, we did a lot of work ahead of time, and as a matter of fact, when we worked on Apollo 1, we didn't have any checklists. We worked as hard as I've ever worked on a spacecraft in my life, trying to get everything together. We were working 20 hours a day. I remember one time I was sitting on the steps while they cleaned out the spacecraft, and with some technician who was probably making 4 times what I made, and he said to me, you know, Colonel McDivitt, this astronaut stuff isn't nearly as glamorous as I thought it was.
Okay, as we wind this up, I think we'd like to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's the future? Where are we going next?
Quite frankly, I think it's all screwed up. You know, during Apollo, we knew what we were supposed to do. We were going to go land on the moon. And we knew it. We weren't wandering around whether we were on this planet or that planet or some other planet. I remember, well, it's got to be, I've been out of NASA for a long time. It's probably about 30, 40 years ago. I remember standing on the steps of one of the NASA buildings downtown while one of the presidents, I don't remember which one it was now, said, I want to proclaim that we're going to Mars. And I was standing next to the NASA administrator and I said to him, Bob, you know anything about that? He said, no, I never heard about it before. No, this is not a joke. This is not a he really hadn't heard about it before.
I thought you were going to ask that question. You know, everybody, a lot of people ask that question these days, and I don't keep that close to it, but I do watch it from the outside because it's just a great thing to do. And Apollo was just an amazing experience, primarily because of the people and the culture involved. Pretty crude technology, but it worked because there was a goal and there was inspiration and trust. And I look at it now, and candidly, you know, they have, the big plan is now to build a space station around the moon from which to stage and go land on the moon, okay? Well, that may be one way to do it. It may work, but I'll guarantee you it'll be the most expensive way to do it. Because trying to go to the moon is very difficult, and the standards have been set, the concept has been set, and yes, you could go repeat it, but you have to have a reason to do it. And unfortunately now, the people at NASA and wherever are drifting.
Mark, Jim,
Rusty, you're up.
thanks a lot for the question. I think it's been a good object lesson. Don't ask a bunch of old farts how the new guys are doing. They're doing fine. They're doing fine without us. It is what it is, and we go from here. And more power to the young guys, and especially the new private enterprise guys that are now leading the way. I think that's where the real juice is, and I'm really delighted to see the entry of the private sector into the game.
I think the commercial sector is going to eventually, they'll be operating the domain of low Earth orbit. Getting to low Earth orbit, particularly for a space station or something, a satellite, or a Hubble, or James Webb, is it's primarily a hauling job. And I think there is signs that if the commercial sector can keep going like it is, that we'll have 2 or 3 providers potentially, which is what we need to operate to get to low Earth orbit and back. That is a chance for NASA, then I think, to really do what it does best, and that's the exploration.
I think from my standpoint, the books have been written. We know how to do many of these things. Technology is there. We have young people educated in this technology. We have to define a goal that will continue through, I'd say, at least a generation, through several administrations we got in there. A goal that provides the funding, and to do that, we have to find leadership. We need some leader capable of standing up and saying, this is what we must do, and here is why it must be done. And I don't see that happening.